these two. All right, come on. Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
Chris Martin issues a warning to fans about the kiss cam following the viral footage of the astronomer CEO.
They had like the kiss cam kind of thing that goes around that zeroed in on this one couple.
They don't even get caught if they're just both at the concert together. They only get caught because they're openly canoodling at the concert. It betrays a lack of respect for any sort of judgment, but also for a basic value system.
The CEO of a billion-dollar business is in damage control after his affair with a colleague was exposed, of all places, on KissCam.
Now, a US tech company boss has been suspended. That's after a viral video appeared to show him hugging a woman at a Coldplay concert. Astronomer says that its chief executive, Andy Byron, has been put on leave, although the company stopped short of confirming if he is the one captured in the footage. The video, which appears to show Byron embracing the company's HR director, was shown on a giant screen at the concert in Boston.
Coldplay threw a couple on the kiss cam. Turns out they were having an affair? I don't think even Coldplay can fix this.
I feel like this isn't a good way, and if you're gonna get caught cheating, it shouldn't be like this.
Well, maybe he should have thought of that before he was cheating.
KissCam is known for its heartwarming moments, but it caught an awkward one at a Coldplay concert. It zoomed in on a couple cuddling, but internet sleuths were quick to work out why they didn't want to be seen.
Don't cheat on your wife. That makes you a scumbag. Let's just start there, full stop. But if you want to be a retarded scumbag, then you can go cheat on your wife at a concert where you're liable to be put on a massive camera in front of everyone, tens of thousands of people here in Boston, watching this.
Yeah. Oh, look at these two. All right, come on. You're okay? Oh, what? Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. I'm not quite sure.
That's a Coldplay concert, and it is the most viral clip on the internet.
If you're gonna have an affair, why would you bring her to a concert in public where everybody can see you? What if you even ran into someone you knew? Who cares about the jumbotron? What if you ran into someone you knew? Huh?
Forget the Epstein files. I want to see the text messages of that astronomer CEO that got caught cheating at the Coldplay concert.
I would pay to be a fly on the wall in the office.
This is pretty viral stuff. Or do we have to get HR involved? I mean, I know that HR was involved.
The moral of the story here is don't get caught on KissCam. And the tidbit is that's not his wife.
And can we talk about the employee that was with them? She obviously knows what's going on because she's there.
But apparently, this couple will not be fans of Coldplay for long.
Update time. Because apparently, one kiss cam clip wasn't enough. Andy Byron, the same tech CEO who got exposed with his HR chief at a Coldplay concert, he's now reportedly threatening to sue Chris Martin for emotional distress. You heard that right. The guy went from awkward jumbotron moment to full-on lawsuit. And Chris Martin, he just laughed. Literally laughed when he heard. The moment has gone from meme to meltdown. And it's not over yet. If you've been keeping up, we've already talked about the viral spiral. 50 million views, internet sleuths uncovering matching outfits and old retreat pics, resignations from both Andy and Kristen, and Coldplay fans turning a scandal into a punchline. But now things are turning legal. Legal experts are calling it a PR disaster in the making. Byron is alleging defamation and privacy invasion at a public concert with 65,000 people. Every lawyer we've seen weigh in has said this case has no legs, but that hasn't stopped Andy from doubling down. And the juiciest part? Insiders are saying Kristen might be done staying silent. Rumors are flying that she has receipts, texts, photos, and maybe even expense records that tell a very different story than the one Byron's legal team is painting. And if that stuff goes public, this lawsuit could backfire hard. So let's break it all down. From Chris Martin's savage non-response to the corporate cleanup attempt spiraling out of control. Because this isn't just about a kiss cam anymore. It's about power, panic, and one CEO's very public undoing. So let's rewind to where it all started. July 16th, 2025, Gillette Stadium. Coldplay's on stage, the lights go dim, confetti is raining down, and the kiss cam lights up the jumbotron. Classic stadium tradition, right? But this time, instead of catching a cute couple or some teens trying not to panic, the camera locks on two people who instantly look like they've seen a ghost: Andy Byron, CEO of Astronomer, and Kristen Kitt, the company's HR director. Here's where it gets wild. They're not married. Well, not to each other anyway.
Days after Andy Byron was seen dodging cameras at a Coldplay concert, when a jumbotron showed him closely hugging a woman, leading to the tech executive resigning from his post, Chris seemingly addresses the viral moment during the band's latest tour stop on July 19.
And the second that camera lingers, their reactions scream guilt. Awkward glances, half smiles, visible panic. And then, Coldplay frontman Chris Martin sees the screen from stage and drops the line that broke the internet. Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy. That one comment, paired with their reaction, was all it took. The video exploded across TikTok, Instagram, Reddit. 50 million plus views in under 3 days. And people weren't just watching, they were investigating. Social media users turned into detectives, digging up old photos from company retreats, flagging matching outfits, overlapping travel dates. The internet didn't just catch them in the act, it built a whole timeline. And within 72 hours, it was game over. Andy's wife reportedly demanded a $35 million divorce settlement or a 5% stake in his company. Both Andy and Kristen resigned. And Coldplay fans? They turned the whole thing into a movement. Memes, parody videos, and even bootleg merch with that now infamous line, "Just very shy." But here's the kicker. This wasn't a random camera catch. Multiple insiders confirmed Andy and Kristen didn't just show up together. They were seated side by side, dressed alike, and arrived at the venue together. One concert goer even snapped a shot of them walking in, hand in hand. This was a date. The kiss cam just turned it into a public spectacle. And that's when the damage control began. But Andy's next move only made it worse. Now, for anyone wondering why the story didn't just fade after a few memes, let's talk about who Andy Byron actually is, or rather was. At the time of the concert, Andy wasn't just some mid-tier exec. He was the CEO of Astronomer, a billion-dollar tech firm hyped as one of the fastest-growing companies in the data infrastructure space. He was a regular on tech panels, Forbes write-ups, and had just wrapped a glowing interview in TechCrunch about building ethical leadership cultures in modern companies. That aged, well, terribly. Because just 2 weeks before the Coldplay concert, Andy was publicly quoted saying that Astronomer's leadership must set the gold standard for conduct and accountability. And yes, that quote went viral after the kiss cam aired. You can probably guess why.
As the singer tells the crowd before the kiss cam starts, per concert footage, "We'd like to say hello to some of you in the crowd. How we're going to do that is we're going to use our cameras and put some of you on the big screen."
But here's what made things spiral even faster. Kristen Kitt, the woman caught next to him, she was his HR director, as in the one responsible for enforcing those very professional boundaries he was bragging about. Her role was literally to make sure the company culture stayed clean, and she was front and center in a moment that screamed anything but. And while many CEOs might try to get ahead of the scandal, Andy didn't. In fact, insiders say he went totally silent. No apology, no public statement, just disappeared. Meanwhile, Kristen's Instagram was wiped, her LinkedIn vanished overnight, and employees at Astronomer were left in total chaos. Slack channels blew up with inside jokes. One anonymous staffer allegedly wrote, "Now we know how to get FaceTime with the CEO. Buy Coldplay tickets." Harsh, yes, but the fallout was very real. Investors started asking questions. Clients reportedly paused deals. And the board? They were not amused. The same leadership that pushed a no-nonsense policy on ethics had just become the face of a public scandal. By the end of the week, both Andy and Kristen were gone from the company. But instead of owning it and moving on quietly, Andy made a move that stunned everyone. So after resigning in total silence and letting the internet torch his reputation, Andy Byron reemerged. But not with an apology, not with accountability, and definitely not with humility. Instead, he dropped the most unexpected card of all. He threatened to sue Chris Martin. Yes, the Chris Martin from Coldplay, over a kiss cam joke. Now here's where it gets unbelievable. According to multiple reports and insider leaks, Andy's legal team floated the idea of suing Coldplay and its frontman for emotional distress, reputational damage, and invasion of privacy. The claim? that Chris Martin's offhand joke, either they're having an affair or they're just very shy, turned him into a global meme and destroyed his career. Except Byron's career was already crashing the moment he stepped into that stadium with Kristen in matching outfits. Chris Martin didn't create that moment. He just reacted to what 65,000 people were already watching unfold on a jumbotron. But that didn't stop the legal chatter. When word of the lawsuit hit social media, the response was swift and savage. Legal experts across TikTok, YouTube, and tech blogs labeled the lawsuit a PR suicide mission. Why? Because there is zero expectation of privacy at a public concert.
Chris jokingly adds, quote, "So please, if you haven't done your makeup, do your makeup now." And in case you missed the viral moment Chris is referencing, on July 16th, a clip posted to social media showed former astronomer CEO Andy Byron with his arms wrapped around a woman enjoying the UK band's tour stop in Massachusetts.
Every single ticket has fine print that warns you may appear on camera, and the footage is fair game. And to make things worse, filing a defamation claim would mean Andy has to prove that the statement was false, which would force him to publicly deny the affair, something he's never done. And what was Chris Martin's response? According to sources close to the band, he laughed out loud when he heard about the lawsuit threat, laughed, outside, loud, then kept on touring like nothing happened. And honestly, he didn't need to say anything. The internet, legal community, and most of the public were already laughing with him. But just when you thought Andy's next move couldn't backfire harder, there was someone else who wasn't done yet, Kristen Kitt. And what she did next? Let's just say it flipped the power dynamic entirely. While Andy Byron was busy threatening to take a rock star to court, Kristen Kitt, the woman at the center of the viral clip, was playing a completely different game. She wasn't posting, she wasn't giving interviews, she wasn't tweeting out defenses. She went quiet. But behind the scenes, insiders say she was preparing for war. According to multiple sources inside Astronomer, Kristen was furious when she found out Andy was framing her as the instigator. The narrative being pushed inside company walls was that she had crossed boundaries, while Andy was allegedly trying to distance himself from the scandal. And here's the thing, Kristen didn't take that lightly. Word quickly started circulating that Kristen had kept everything. We're talking screenshots, emails, Slack threads, calendar invites, even expense reports that allegedly align with private dinners, hotel stays, and travel that wasn't exactly work-related. If true, this wasn't just office gossip. It was a full-on digital archive of a relationship that violated company policy, ethics guidelines, and likely a few legal boundaries. And just as Andy's legal threat started making headlines, a leaked photo hit the internet, Andy and Kristen arriving at the Coldplay concert together, not just walking side by side, but reportedly in coordinated outfits. That single image crushed any argument that their seating arrangement was coincidental or that Chris Martin's comment was based on false assumptions. At this point, Kristen reportedly began consulting attorneys, but not for defense, for leverage. Some insiders even claim she refused a non-disclosure agreement offered as part of her exit package. That means she's not gagged, not bound, and definitely not silenced.
However, as soon as the pair noticed their faces on the big screen, Byron quickly ducked out of frame while the woman covered her face, seemingly embarrassed, causing Chris to jokingly call out the couple.
Oh, look at these two. Either they're having an affair or they're just very shy.
And according to one source close to the situation, if Kristen talks, Andy doesn't just lose credibility, he loses whatever's left of his empire. This isn't just HR fallout anymore. It's the kind of scandal that, if fully exposed, could reveal a culture of silence, executive cover-ups, and systemic hypocrisy. And the person holding the detonator? The woman Andy tried to blame. But while Kristen was silently gathering power, things inside Astronomer were falling apart faster than anyone expected. While the public was laughing at memes and Coldplay fans were chanting, "We're just very shy," things behind the scenes at Astronomer were going downhill, fast. This wasn't just a viral PR hit anymore. It became a full-on corporate credibility collapse. Insiders say the moment Andy Byron's lawsuit talk hit the wires, the boardroom practically caught fire. Why? Because according to leaked info, the board was never even consulted. Byron's legal tantrum wasn't company strategy. It was personal retaliation dressed up as corporate damage control. One source called it straight ego litigation. And while Andy was busy spiraling, investors were panicking. Clients began pulling back from active projects. Emails were reportedly flooding the legal team. And internal Slack channels were melting with staff confusion and thinly veiled jokes that were only funny because the entire leadership structure had imploded. The interim CEO, Pete DeJoy, was immediately thrust into triage mode. Externally, trying to stabilize client relationships. Internally, launching a quiet audit of executive-level behavior to prevent more leaks. But the damage was done. The moment the leaked photo of Andy and Kristen walking into the concert together hit social platforms, the narrative completely flipped. This wasn't a witch hunt. It was a cover-up gone viral. And in the middle of all this chaos, the company tried to spin the story with a surprise PR stunt that left people stunned. Gwyneth Paltrow, yes, Chris Martin's ex-wife, was featured in a lighthearted internal promo video reportedly meant to bring levity to the situation. That move? It backfired spectacularly. Employees weren't laughing, comment sections exploded, and media outlets called it what it was, a tone-deaf distraction tactic. At this point, Astronomer wasn't dealing with just a scandal. It was facing a full-on identity crisis. A company once praised for innovation and leadership had become a meme, a tabloid headline, and the subject of YouTube commentary. And Kristen, she still hadn't said a word.
And after the moment made headlines, Astronomer announced it launched a formal investigation into the matter, which ultimately led with Byron resigning from his role on July 19.
But the silence was deafening, and rumors were swirling that it wouldn't last much longer. While Andy Byron was lawyering up and Kristen Kitt was allegedly sitting on a mountain of receipts, Chris Martin didn't say a single word. And that silence? It spoke louder than any lawsuit ever could. From the start, Coldplay never issued a statement. No press release, no denial, no damage control. Why would they? Chris Martin's comment, either they're having an affair or they're just very shy, wasn't malicious. It was an offhand remark in the middle of a massive concert, directed at what looked like an awkward moment. And the crowd, they loved it. The internet ate it up. But instead of trying to backtrack or explain himself, Chris just kept doing what he does best, performing to sold-out arenas. What's more, fans noticed that Coldplay started embracing the moment. Signs began appearing in the audience that read, "We're just very shy." Videos showed couples mimicking the awkward kiss cam pose from the viral clip. And the band's merchandise team? They sold out of t-shirts printed with that exact line. Chris didn't need to go on record. He let the fans do the talking for him. Even as legal threats made headlines, Chris kept it cool. According to insiders, when he first heard Andy was threatening a lawsuit, he laughed. Like, actually laughed out loud. And then, nothing. No interviews, no shade, just vibes and vocals. This approach had two effects. First, it completely diffused any narrative that Chris was somehow responsible for the scandal. And second, it put all the pressure back on Andy. Because if your lawsuit looks ridiculous and your target won't even acknowledge it, you just look desperate. And to top it off, media outlets started dubbing Andy the man who sued a song. So while Andy scrambled and Kristen played chess behind the scenes, Chris Martin stayed exactly where he's always been. On stage, in control, and totally unfazed. But the real kicker? The silence might have been strategic because Chris wasn't the one in danger of getting exposed. That honor might still belong to Kristen Kitt, and the final twist is coming.
I think that the actual star of this story, though, is Chris Martin, who decides, given an opportunity here, to let these people off the hook and just let the camera move along, to suggest explicitly that these people are either having an affair. I mean, seriously? You just throw the fans under the bus who paid their hard-earned money for these tickets?
Well, good call from the lead man there, because it turns out that they were, in fact, probably having an affair.
As the lawsuit threats fizzled and Chris Martin kept his rock star cool, the attention turned back to Kristen Kitt and what she'd do next. Because while Andy Byron was getting roasted online for dragging a band into court over a kiss cam, Kristen had gone quiet. Too quiet. Insiders confirmed that Kristen had officially resigned. But here's the catch. It wasn't your average HR exit. Reports described it as a negotiated quiet departure, with a severance offer and NDA attached. Standard damage control. Except, Kristen didn't sign, at least not yet. Multiple sources claimed she was holding out, not for more money, but for leverage. The narrative inside Astronomer had already painted her as the problem. Andy, despite resigning, was allegedly floating the idea that she initiated the relationship, that he was caught off guard, that he didn't expect the fallout. And Kristen, she wasn't about to go down as the scapegoat. According to people close to the situation, she's been consulting legal counsel and preparing what's essentially a digital war chest, backed up conversations, screenshots, expense records, location history, even flagged HR communications where concerns were allegedly raised and ignored. One former colleague put it bluntly, if Kristen talks, it won't just be Andy. It's going to take down half the executive team. People knew. They just didn't think it would ever go public. And here's where it turns nuclear. Kristen has the receipts, and now she has the motivation. Her career took a massive hit. Her name trended for all the wrong reasons. And while Andy spiraled and sued, Kristen stayed silent, calculated, and according to insiders, angry. If she goes public, this won't be remembered as a kiss cam scandal or a Coldplay meme. It'll be remembered as one of the most catastrophic executive implosions in tech culture, not just for the affair, but for the cover-up, the cowardice, and the legal circus that followed. And as of now, that final move? It's still on the table, because the NDA, it's unsigned. The files, unleaked. And Kristen Kitt? She's holding all the cards. One concert, one kiss cam, one unscripted joke. That's all it took to unravel a billion-dollar company, wreck 2 careers, and create the most unexpected PR disaster of the year. Andy Byron thought he could control the narrative. First by ghosting, then by suing, and finally by blaming everyone but himself. But the internet doesn't forget. And neither, apparently, does Kristen Kitt. Chris Martin? He said 6 words, then stepped back and let the chaos unfold. No press tour, no counterattack, just stadiums full of fans chanting, "We're just very shy," while the man behind the lawsuit became a punchline. And now, with NDAs hanging in limbo and digital receipts rumored to be locked and loaded, this story isn't over. It's paused, waiting. Because in the end, it wasn't the joke that did the damage. It was the exposure, the arrogance, the belief that power protects you from the truth. And now, that truth might still be coming.